Alright guys, so this is the extended version of our experience at Comic-Con. Uh, we're gonna run through now a few films. Yesterday we were in Hall H and we saw a slew of actors, actresses, and like a bunch of films. And we just wanted to get it done before we head out to Comic-Con right now and enjoy the rest of the day, just to get it out of the way. So without further ado, we're gonna start off with Tintin. Get off with Wake Up.
Okay, Tintin. The footage that we saw, and we did see footage, was very good. I mean, it was. I was interested to see this film. In all frankness, they showed a comparison between Peter Jackson in live action and a CGI dog, and Spielberg was very adamant. He said, "Look, I'm not going to do the whole thing in CGI unless you can prove to me that the technology holds up." And to give them a tester, a little teaser, he said, "Look, I want to see the comparison between a real dog and an animated dog, and I want to see them interact. And if it's good, then we'll go with this." And it was really good. It looked very lifelike, and it was just fantastic. He also stated, though, that CGI animation is not the be-all and end-all. It's not, in his opinion, it should not be the tool to be used in every single movie. And they had a big, long discussion about why Spielberg and Peter Jackson thought that the CGI in this case was very appropriate for Tintin, because they wanted to honour the material and honour the comics and have different characters like Daniel Craig, Andy Serkis portray people that they don't necessarily look like, but they had the mannerisms down. For example, where else would you get Nick Frost and Simon Pegg playing two identical fat twins?
Yeah, I wasn't psyched about Tintin. Not to sound cliche, but from what I've seen with the footage, it looked really fluid. You know, I guess a lot of our fears are like, you know, Polar Express. It's kind of creepy for me watching the animated actors and stuff, Tom Hanks, and what they look. It just looks kind of creepy. Something about it just doesn't look fluid. The aesthetics is just all wrong on that for me. Like, it's not a bad film. I actually enjoy the Polar Express, but it's just something about it that's a little too creepy and whatnot. So I had a feel that this was gonna be something like this, you know. But the technology seems to be much more perfected. It's a lot fluid. I felt like this thing, for the adventure that they want to tell, for the story that they want to tell here, in the how long was that footage? Like 5 minutes of footage. It gets about 5 minutes of footage. And from what I can see from the story, there were some things that you could do live action, but there were some things, Spielberg said that there are places that you could put a camera in an animated film like this that you can't in live action. You know, and I think one of the scenes he means is when Tintin's on the floor, on the street, and you see these cars about to hit him, the camera's like so low on the ground, the action is all over the place, and you see like the car about to hit him, and then no, he dodges it, and it's about to hit the little dog. And the scenes is like, it's just mind-blowing. And we also saw it in 3D. We had the 3D glasses, and we saw it in 3D. It really looked really good. It looked like a fun time. Definitely worth going to the theater during the holidays this year to go see it. I think it's definitely going to be good. Peter Jackson came out and was a big surprise. I mean, awesome. Wake Up, I'll give him credit. We're on the line, and he had said, I have a feeling he will be. And I said, nah, he's too busy filming The Hobbit. I said, there's no way he's going to be there and whatnot. So yeah, he was there, and it was pretty amazing. I mean, that was probably like the tip of the iceberg really early on. I mean, it was the first panel. So Q&A start, and one person asked like a really good question. I think I already posted on Talkback Row. They asked Spielberg if any film that you had helped to make, you know, which one would you rather have
done? Go back and direct
instead of producing. And you know, I think Wake Up was looking for Transformers, but I knew he wasn't gonna go to Transformers because it's just too fresh. It just came out, so I knew he wasn't gonna like say Transformers. But surprisingly enough, I was surprised. He said American Beauty, and he thought he could have directed that. He knew he could have, but you know, he passed it on to Mendes. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. Peter Jackson didn't have much to answer. Peter Jackson just said...
He'd only done District 9 though and Tintin, so give credit where credit is due. I mean, what are you going to say? Neil Blomkamp, who did a fairly decent job, or Spielberg? Come on.
Exactly. I mean, he said, Peter Jackson said, I mean,
Now, that question
I
was aimed for
gave my
Spielberg.
project to Spielberg, so it was more like for Spielberg anyway. They asked Peter Jackson about some Lord of the Rings stuff. Didn't say quite much about it. Trying to remember anything else that may have happened that was kind of cool. Oh,
The most
fan.
important thing, though, to be honest, the most important thing that was mentioned was the fact that Spielberg said, look, sometimes you guys need to call it. You need to take us to task. You need to tell us, look, if we've done a good job or not. And fair enough, you've loved me sometimes, and I also know that you've hated me a lot sometimes. And he smiled at that, and that got a chuckle.
Yeah.
And he was being genuinely honest about that. He says he loves what he does. He was so down to earth. They were all down to earth. They were leagues above the snobbiness and the full of themselves TV actors like Dexter, Michael C. Hall, people from Big Bang Theory who were just wankers compared to these, like Spielberg and Jackson. Doesn't get much bigger than that. I mean, you're missing Kubrick on Spielberg's field anyway, and even like bloody Terry Gilliam. And to think that these guys were so down to earth and on the level and honest and open and genuinely wanted to be there, it was good, and it was very insightful and humbling.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when he said that, it was key. Like, you know, hey, listen, I know you guys sometimes don't like things that I do, and I know that sometimes you guys do. So, I mean, when you guys don't, I listen. You know, don't think I don't listen, which is kind of cool. I thought it was really cool because I feel like him and George Lucas sometimes they get angry at us or something, like the fans, and they kind of like to like spite us. They keep making the same kind of stuff. Like we didn't like the prequels. So they made kind of Indiana Jones kind of like the same, in the same 50s camp. They try to like, I guess...
Not even that. I mean, the fact that you got George Lucas saying, what's going to be the divide between the two prequels, 2 and 3, is we're going to have, Clone Wars, the CGI, and that's actually supposed to be an actual part of it.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a slap in the face. But anyway...
But it was definitely a good panel. It was definitely like the way to break the show going down, because after that... Because after that, the other panels were not as, except for that and Spider-Man, with the 2 bookends. Everything else in between, was just fluff. Oh, it wasn't fluff. It was some good stuff that we're going to get into. So yeah, that's the Tintin. Are we going to cut this video here?
Yeah,
Are we gonna,
that's it. That's the Tintin footage.
It's 7 minutes into this. Okay, so we're going to, this is the Tintin footage. We don't want to give anything much away about it, but we can tell you that
it looked good.
It looked good.
We're
definitely saying, I'm trying to compare it to something, but it's going to be
your
holiday.
It's like the CGI is the equivalent of Avatar, which is to be expected because it's the same company. It's wetter.
Yeah. So, one person asked Spielberg, do you not want to shoot any more films on film? And he's like, no, I still love film. I will continue making movies on film. There's just some films that you need to make
in CG
and a digital camera.
Yeah.
You're not on film. There's not killing film at all. I mean, I will always shoot on film. I'm not going to just adopt a digital camera. So that was kind of reassuring. Alright guys, so that's the Tintin footage, and we're going to go on to the next. Alright.
www.talkaboutworld.net, the forum for the real fan. Peace.